Little moment. So, ladies and gentlemen, this show is called Wit and Mirth, which might seem like I'm massively overpromising for a one-man cabaret based on 300-year-old material, but it is, in fact, the title of this book, which I have borrowed, not stolen, from the Harvard Library. This book by a man called Thomas Durfee, or later in life, Thomas Durfee. So he actually changed his name and put an apostrophe after the first letter to make it sound more French and more sophisticated. How about that, ladies and gentlemen? Now, I've been trying this out myself. I actually have a job other than this. Surprisingly, these shows don't pay the rent. My job is teaching music at the Lycée International de Boston, or if you're common, the International School of Boston, where I teach music to French children, and they like to Frenchify my name. So to the students, I'm usually Mr. Hughes. But if they have a French accent, I might be Mr. Hugues. That's not a bad one. Another one I get, which is slightly worse, is I'll be teaching a 12-year-old and they'll say, Mr. Hugs. My job's on the line here, guy. Come on. But the worst one, ladies and gentlemen, is if I'm teaching a group of sort of 11, 12-year-olds and I get in a sultry French accent, Mr. Huge. Now, ladies and gentlemen, that is something I want to hear said to me in a French accent, but not by a 12-year-old boy. So to give you an idea of how nerdy I am, I have watched every single episode of Time Team twice. Now that might be a niche reference from an American audience. Does anyone know what Time Team is? Anyone seen that show? It was one of Britain's... Yes, someone on the back is nodding. It was one of Britain's longest running TV shows. It ran for 20 seasons. It was intensely popular. It had ratings in the tens of millions. So what was it? Was it a cutesy baking show, perhaps? Was it an epic historical fantasy? Was it a cloyingly romantic comedy? No, ladies and gentlemen, it was in fact an archaeology show. Each week, a bunch of university professors and professional archaeologists would go to a field in the middle of nowhere, dig holes in the mud in the rain, scrabble around for pieces of broken pot and stone, and get very excited about what they found. The chief archaeologist on the show was the late, great Professor Mick Aston of Birmingham University. And he used to have sort of flowing blonde hair and rainbow jumpers, very, very good fashion sense, I think. And he had a thick black country accent, and he would sum up the episode something a bit like this. Well, actually, Tony, I think you'll find that the fact that we found nothing at all is actually very interesting. Because it tells us that nothing at all was going on here in the Middle Ages. Afterwards, I went to the gents, and I went up to the urinal, and I'm sort of standing there, doing my thing, and kind of against protocol, I glance over the little useless barrier. I see that the gentleman next to me is controlling the flow with his right hand and thumbing through Instagram with his left. Like, poo emoji. Why is there not a we emoji? That's a question that needs answering, isn't it? So I wondered, what's up with that? Is the etiquette okay there? And how do we deal with that situation? What's the logical conclusion? So this is a song all about that. I wanted to answer you swiftly, to tell you the what, when and why. The tone of your writing was overexciting and it seemed a shame not to reply. I'm right-handed but type with my left hand when I'm otherwise occupied. Words started to flow but I needed to go, so I'm buttoning down my fly. Your email, dear boss, looked important, and I wanted to write you back quick to show I'm no shirker, but rather a worker who'd honour your arse with a lick. And though I stand here in the bathroom, I know an excellent trick. I'm holding my phone in my left hand alone. In my right I am holding my prick. As I start to write, it goes smoothly. My grammar is never amiss. My turns of phrase elegant. I am quite eloquent. To read what I write must be bliss. But tragedy strikes at the sign-off when sending that final best wish. As my phone, it is final, falls in the urinal and is soaked in my very own piss. A grasshopper and a fly in summer hot and dry, in eager argument were met to talk about priority. Says the fly to the grasshopper, from mighty race I spring. Bright Phoebus was my dad, 'tis true, and I eat and drink with a king. Says the grasshopper to the fly, shucks, rogues are still preferred. Your father may be of a high degree, but your mother was just a turd. That's Henry Purcell, Thomas Durfee, 1698. On your marks, get set, go!